Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a very accomplished professional from the Netherlands, Mr. ter Wal. Paul, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Ashutosh. Great to be on your show.
Thank you. Paul is a global engagement explorer, a speaker, a consultant, and an author. So, Paul, before we talk about engagement, tell me about your own journey from being a lawyer to becoming an engagement explorer and a workplace architect.
Yeah, well, the point is I studied law end of the 70s. So we're around the same age.
Yeah.
And in those days, there was a lot of unemployment. So I wanted to be a speaker. I wanted to be on television. I wanted to be a reporter. And one of the big shots in the Netherlands told me, Paul, the best thing if you want to be on the TV is to become a lawyer. To study law because you have a broad view of what's happening in the world. I studied law, international law, labor law, social security law. And then there was a lot of unemployment. So I was happy to find a job, social security, giving people allowances when they were unemployed, were ill, were disabled. And I did it for 5-6 years, then went into health service and that kind of stuff. And what I always saw that we are so focused on when something is going wrong with a person and not taking care of human beings when they have a normal life. So to amplify them, to make them much more resilient, to give them more power to work. And especially in my country, we are focused on social security. When you get ill, you will get 2 years your salary. So we take care of you when something goes wrong. We're not supporting you and facilitating you up front. I found that out during I was talking a lot on social security, and I thought, why aren't we working more on the start? And that's, for me, engagement and working from your core values.
Right.
And that's what I did in 95. I started my own company called Andare, which means let's go, let's move. Then I became a professional speaker, world president of the Global Speakers Federation. We have a partner in India as well. And then I traveled around the world and I thought, oh, we can do much better in the whole world. It's not only the Netherlands or Europe, but I do stuff in Iran. I do all over the world. And I, like you, I like to give back what I learned from my experience and tell people how we can support employees, how we can support human beings to be a better self.
Very interesting. And when you say that, you are a global engagement explorer, help me understand what these three words mean.
The point is, a lot of people say that they are experts. And I'm not interested in being an expert. I want to find out what's happening in the world. Because I have my point of view, you have your experience and your point of view, and I want to see how we can connect those different visions. I worked a lot in South Africa and Namibia. That's totally different than India and the Netherlands. So global means for me the entire world. I want to find out what's happening where. I want to see what engagement is, and I want to explore your ideas and the ideas of others, and then see how we can combine them. I'm not going to tell you what you need to think about engagement. It's to explore how we can combine.
Right. Very interesting. And what would you say are some of the non-negotiables when it comes to workplace engagement? And how did you arrive at this concept?
Well, I found out when I was looking on that backside, why are people leaving an organization? And go back to 2-3 years ago during Corona time, a lot of people were working from home. And suddenly they found out that they didn't fit in the organization where they were working.
Mm.
So you had the great retirement, you had the great people leaving, and suddenly retention became an issue. We
Right.
want to keep the right people in the right place. And then I thought, why is it? Well, what I see is great companies have their core values, their non-negotiables totally clear.
Right.
They know exactly what they stand for. They walk their talk. They practice what they preach, all those nice words and sentences. But they know exactly who they are and what they want to do. So their values, mission, vision is steady. A lot of employees jumped on a job not knowing what those core values were or what their own core values are. So I encourage people to find out, what are your core values? What do you stand for? What is your purpose in life? And then see whether you match or not with the company you're working. And the more you match, the more engaged you will be. So it's hard work for companies to set their purpose, to set their core values. And I love the American word non-negotiable, because you know, it is what it is. I can't change it overnight.
Correct. Correct.
If you have a new CEO and you have been on that level, if you come in an org, you can't change the non-negotiables of a company, because then we go all wild.
Very well
So
said.
if you have a good set of core values and somebody comes in the onboarding process, you need to work hard on those core values. That people understand that feeling. Then engagement will go up, and my statement is that profitability will go up. So you will have the 7 keys of engagement, and that means more attrition, of less attrition. People will stay in your company.
Yeah.
Sick leave will go down with about 60 to 88%. Well-being of the people will go up because they feel well. And most important for a lot of companies, productivity will go up by almost 20%. So that means that if you normally work 5 days, your productivity will be equal to 6 days. Not because we press you to work harder, but because of your engagement. You will work harder. You have more fun. So your productivity per working hour increases from about 40, 50% to 60, 70%.
Very interesting.
And that is what it's researched by Harvard, it's researched by Oxford, by Gallup. So we know it's true all over the world, in every culture. So if an organization said we need to have higher productivity because our revenues need to go up and our EBITDA needs to go up, normally they press people, and I say, no, look at their engagement. Look at their well-being. Take care of those individuals, those human beings, and don't call them human resources anymore. It's a nasty term. If you say you are a resource, I can replace you easily. No, if you say you are a human being, you are important for me, you are the professional, then people will feel that they are encouraged, supported, facilitated, and engagement goes up.
Great response. But, in the last 3 years, because of COVID, there has been a lot of change in work practices, remote working, hybrid working. How has this impacted employee engagement?
Oh, enormously. I think we don't know exactly the answer to that question, but of course it changed, because suddenly we were supposed to work in an office. And suddenly we couldn't work in that office, and we worked hybrid or remote.
Right.
And that's only for 40, 50% of the employees possible. Because if you work in a hospital, if you work as a cleaner, if you work on the street, you need to be there. So it's a part of the employment scene that can work hybrid. And suddenly that engagement became more important, and we call it the ABC of engagement. It has to do with autonomy. Suddenly you could work from home. and your boss wasn't watching over your shoulder whether you were working in the right spot or not. So autonomy went up immediately. What went down was the belonging to a group. Suddenly you didn't see your colleagues anymore. So that was the negative part.
Right.
And the third part was we had more time to work on competencies. So that's the ABC. And if we can increase all three of them, then we can have engagement going up. So what I see, a lot of organizations who start, especially IT companies, they work more on belonging by having meetings online, which weren't formal meetings, but social meetings. And they said, let's have fun together. Let's have WhatsApp groups. Let's have meetings online that we share a toast with one another.
Right, right.
And then you increase that belonging again, because if autonomy goes up, but belonging goes down, engagement will go down as well. So belonging, being part of a social group, is very important. On the other hand, having that feeling that you are welcome, that you have the ability to do your own work, that you are the professional, is important as well. So it's always a combination of those three connected to the purpose of the company.
Well said. And Paul, how does engagement differ across industries and cultures?
If you look at the research that Gallup is doing every year, and you can go to their website, gallup.com, and get all the information. And it's really exciting. What we see in Europe, the whole Europe area, engagement is about 14-15%. What we see that a lot of people are fully engaged, 40-50%. A lot of people are satisfied, which is I start on time, go home on time, get my money on time. It's a lower level than engagement, and it doesn't matter. But in India, in the US, in Costa Rica, in the Philippines, engagement is about 30%. So you see, if you get more exposure, if you get the ability to work for yourself, engagement goes up. But on the other hand, you see a lot of dropouts, and that's about 25%. So people who aren't engaged anymore, who doesn't want to participate anymore, is high as well. But what Gallup says, if you have disengaged is 1, then you need fully engaged 1.5, 1.7. So it needs to be much higher. In Europe, it's equal, and that's not good. So we say a lot of positive stuff about Europe. Nah, I'm not happy with the engagement numbers.
Okay. And how important is leadership style in shaping workplace engagement?
I think it's the most important. It is done a lot of research why people are leaving a company. 70% is related to the style of leadership.
Right.
So I'm leaving because I can't get along with my boss. My boss isn't supporting our team. Our boss is never there for us. That kind of stuff. Then people are leaving. So I want to make a difference between management and leadership.
Right.
Management is focused on the process, ticking the boxes. Leadership is about people. If you are a leader, you are there to support your professionals. You ask the question, what can I do for you? Managers say, how can you work harder for me?
Right.
That's different. And I'm exaggerating, of course, but you will get the feeling that if you are a manager and you're looking at your Excel and you're looking at KPIs and you're saying, oh, hey, boss, we did a great job, then you will lose your employees. If you are a leader and you are supportive to your professionals, they will perform much harder and the results will be better.
Very interesting.
And that sounds like a dream, but it's worldwide research over the last 10 years that this is true.
Very interesting. Thank you. And how does technology influence engagement, either positively or negatively?
I think it's always with technology, how do we use it? Is it to replace people or is it to support people?
Right.
I love the idea. I was in a restaurant a couple of weeks ago, and it's always very crowded there because it's on all the highways in the Netherlands. And we saw those people running with full plates the whole time. Suddenly, they have robots delivering the plates with food. So the human beings have the time to have a chat with you.
Right.
So you order with them, have a meeting, they put it in their computer, then they walk away to another table, then suddenly they come back supported by a computer, a robot, who is carrying all the stuff, and they put it on your table. But they have much more time to communicate and engage with you.
Right.
Then technology is helping us. If the food is brought by a computer without a human being, you will be disappointed because you have to take your own platter from the computer and say, well, so we like that human connection.
Right.
And I think we should use AI and all that stuff, but to support human beings.
Wonderful. And Paul, how can an organization build a culture that supports and fosters engagement?
Well, it starts with knowing and working from your core values, your non-negotiables. If I say that we are responsible and we are sustainable, then you can't pollute your environment or use much plastic or use poison in your stuff. So practice what you preach. If you say we are responsible for our neighborhood, for our people, then I, as an outsider, should see that you walk your talk. But if I hear that you say one thing and you act another thing, then there is no reason that your employees, your human beings will be engaged.
Right.
Because they feel it. So for leadership, the most important part is to know your purpose, to be true to the core values, and act on it and discuss it with your employees. I think that's the most important part. It's not rocket science. It's just be true. If you tell me a story, I must believe that you are true on what you're saying.
Right.
And if a CEO is telling a story, especially at the start of the new year, you have those big meetings and they say, this is our plan for this year. Then I, as a human being in that position, need to understand and feel that you're telling the truth. That is aligned to the core values of the organization. If I don't believe it, I will turn around and walk away.
Fascinating. So, time for 2 or 3 more questions for you. How significant is the role of mentoring and coaching in enhancing employee engagement?
I think I always say I wish everybody has a coach or a mentor. And you and I have been in positions that we were quite lonely.
Correct.
And they say it's lonely at the top.
Correct.
Then it's very important that you have a coach, a mentor who can ask you the difficult questions that you're not going to ask yourself. Because they reflect on your core values as well. I have 2 coaches who live in South Africa, in Cape Town. Every 2 years, I spend 2 or 3 days with them, going through what happened in my life, and they challenge me. And they say, well, Paul, I saw this on LinkedIn. Tell me about it. Because if I look at your core values and I see what you did there, how is this connected? Is that only for CEOs or for board members? No, of course not. Because you can have trouble in your private life, you can have illness in the family, you can have financial issues. I wish that every organizations have a team of coaches available where people can go for free to have them mentored, to have them coached.
Thank you. And, given all the expertise you have in engagement, what are some of the emerging trends leaders should be aware of to stay ahead in the whole process of employee engagement?
Well, I think what we see, and we call it the Anglo-Saxon way of thinking, it's top down.
Yeah.
You have shareholders, you have the C-suite, you have management layers, and then you have employees. I think leaders should have a look at going more horizontal. That the C-suite and the shareholders are looking for long-term results and support and facilitate the employees. So push them into more professionalism. Because it's the IT the world.
Yeah.
So we need to focus on how can the C-suite facilitate employees instead of only looking at the EBITDA for the shareholders. I think we should look at stakeholders and less on shareholder, and the shareholder value will go up if we take all people in account.
Fantastic. And my last question to you, Paul, and this is for the thousands of people who will listen to our conversation. And this question is from the perspective of now the employee. We've so far been talking of managers and leaders. What would you say are 3 lessons you would want a lot of our viewers and listeners to take back when it comes to them getting more engaged at work?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is for every employee, for every human being, to find out what your core values are. Who are you? What is your purpose in life? What do you want to achieve?
Right.
My core value, one of my core values is fun is my fundament. So I only want to do things like this that give me energy. Because if it takes a lot of energy,
right,
you feel miserable. So, and I'm not saying if you feel miserable now, quit your job. No, but take time, look at your core values, say, this is what I want to achieve. It's your life, it's your responsibility. So don't blame the company, don't blame your manager. Look at yourself and say, what do I want to achieve?
Right.
And what do I need to do to get to that level? Because you and I didn't achieve our position by just relaxing, looking back and saying, it will come to us. No, you need to work hard.
Absolutely.
But I think you need to have fun to know who you are, to be able to work hard and to be successful.
Very interesting. And on that note, Paul, and your amazing lessons, find your core values, who are you, have fun, work hard. Thank you so much for speaking to me about your own amazing journey. Thank you for speaking to me about the 7 keys of engagement. Thank you for talking to me about the ABC of engagement, and also giving me a perspective of different forms of global engagement in organizations and other businesses across the world. Thank you for speaking to me, and good luck to you.
Thank you very much. I loved it.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.